During times like these, a sign like that says it all.
You know, that's what I do. I feed people. And to me, all I want to do is provide people with, food, hot food, water.
Donnie Amar operates the Chili's on University and Wynn in Huntsville. And he made it a point to stand up for what is right, while folks stood patiently in line for charcoal grilled hamburgers, chips, and water. And the looks he saw on their faces reflected the overwhelming sense of humanity that has been embraced by this community.
People are spending money on generators, and they're spending money on ice and food for themselves that they don't need to go out to pay for a meal. We can just give them something for free.
No price can add up to the love that some of the people experience at this establishment. However, once the smoke clears and the power is back on in Huntsville, the efforts of these workers at Chili's will not be forgotten. I guess you can call this another example of the love that you can get here in Huntsville, Alabama. And for the Riley family in New York, they have never seen anything like this in Huntsville. See, they've been through devastating storms, say a tsunami and an earthquake, but they say Huntsville's hospitality tops the list.
We were in typhoons and monsoons in Japan. We were in California, in San Diego, just a few months ago when they had their big earthquakes. And I've never, ever seen anything like this.
It's great. It's so much more than I've ever experienced before. The people here are wonderful.
And that's Southern hospitality. In Huntsville, Ronnie Duncan, Wade 31, First News.
God's got a plan for everybody. He knew that my plan wasn't to play football. But in a bigger picture, he showed me who actually I was.
And today, Blake Farmer is a survivor. These are pictures from what remained from a car accident that almost claimed his life.
I'm not going to let a small car wreck get me down. Although it was a near-death experience, it's still an experience I needed to go through.
These days, Blake is picking up the pieces of his life as a groundskeeper at the Paddock Apartments at the Village of Providence outside of Huntsville. Although he sees a lot of trash, he treasures what remains.
I've lived by a quote ever since I've had my wreck. Yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
A present that got swept away due to the accident, just weeks after he walked on the Alabama A&M football squad as a long snapper, until that one day his playing future was fumbled and crushed.
September 18th, 2005, I fell asleep driving on the way back from campus, driving home to go to church that Sunday, ran off the side of the road in about a 6-foot ditch, hit a concrete culvert, and I broke both my legs, crushed my left foot, broke my back, my pelvis, bruised both my lungs, and tore the main artery in my heart.
And that heart still beats maroon and white for Alabama A&M because of the support Coach Anthony Jones showed him.
He actually told me in the hospital that if I just hung around, that he would offer me a full scholarship. And he also told me once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog.
From the moment that 71-year-old Clarence Hodges leaves his home in the comfort of Tony, Alabama, he steps into a nightmare of reality. All around him is a reminder of what is and what was a week ago.
I've had the opportunity to visit, travel around the world, and see some of the devastation in other places that I never thought I would see in the United States of America to this extent.
The home that Hodges and his wife Yvonne occupy was spared the damage that many of his neighbors could not avoid.
We have seen suffering. That's correct. No one gets all the joy, no one gets all the suffering. But everyone can help someone else to receive and to appreciate the good they receive.
Clarence Hodges has definitely climbed the ladder of success, and it's not downhill for this man. Although he's retired, he's been to the White House, and he served 2 United States presidents. Hodges worked under the Reagan and Bush administrations as a deputy secretary to both Secretary of State Schultz and Baker.
Well, I worked for a longer period of time with Secretary of State George Schultz, and we had a very close relationship, and it was a joy working for him. He was relaxed, and he placed great confidence in those who worked with him and gave them opportunities to make significant contributions.
Perhaps this man's way of giving back is being the author of 13 books, one of them the critically acclaimed as you think you can, where the book simply tells the story of overcoming obstacles and exceeding all expectations.
When the series of tornadoes came last week, and I had the opportunity to walk the streets of this part of Tony, Alabama, the joy that I could share with others in stopping to pray with those who had lost everything they had, I was blessed. In sharing, in giving, in distributing, whether it was water or food or just a word of encouragement. And so it is, when we join together in helping one another, when we show love to one another, we make America a better place.
The base of that greatness is right there, the red, white, and blue. The patriotic spirit of the United States of America. Yes, we will rise again. And in that rise, the folks here in Tony, Alabama, and throughout Alabama will put their pieces back together. But they got a piece of good news to motivate them to a different change. Sure, their power was out, but on Sunday night, they found out for Osama bin Laden, it's lights out.
You don't get all bad news in 1 week, and we should not always expect all good news. So with all the sadness that came during the week of devastation, of storm, tornadoes, floods, we received some good news on the soil of the United States of America. We received the word that justice had been received.
And that justice was served under the direction of President Barack Obama, who visited Tuscaloosa over the weekend. Still, one has to wonder what Clarence Hodges believes would have been Ronald Reagan's reaction to this type of leadership.
Ronald Reagan would have appreciated that and would have appreciated the way Barack Obama handled that situation.
Like I said, you know, to really understand what we're talking about, I think you have to see it.
Coach, that real world, that real life was a reality before my very eyes as I drove through Tuscaloosa along with former Alabama star and former Hammer star Josh Pugh and current Hammer star and former Auburn star Marquise Gunn.
Some places it's just hurtful, man, because it's like you think of places you spend time and hang out with your friends and you bond with different players and different classmates and do different things. You can't bring that back.
As you can see, the foundation of that house is all but gone. But one thing that will never be broken again is the friendship developed between Joshua Pugh and Marquise Gunn.
After seeing it with my eyes personally and studying on TV, it's real hard, you know, knowing what people went through. I'm glad I could come down and be a helping hand for the moment with a former Alabama player, you know, being my rival.
Throughout the week, former Alabama stars, including former Heisman Trophy winner of 2009, Mark Ingram, stopped by our dear city to make sure they touched the lives of many who had been devastated by the storms.
To be here and be able to, you know, see them smile, be able to put a smile on their face, and know that I could bring happiness in their lives is real special to me. Just because everything that's happened is so devastating and terrible.